Well, as promised, I told you I'd get the funny story done today. So Friday's funny story is now, oh, excuse me, coffee's delicious. Friday's funny story is now Saturday morning's funny Friday story, or something like that. Anyway, today's story is the voter's choice was Barney Fife's Furious Pursuit. Anyway, as you may know if you listen to the other past videos, I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma called Beaver, Oklahoma, the cow chip capital of the world. And Beaver's a small town. I mean, when I lived there, 3,000 or so people, and now it's about half that. But as I said before, it's a wonderful place to live, great people, super football team. I guess basketball could, I don't know. But it's always been a fun place to live. I loved living there when I was younger. I left there when I was 21. I'm 45 now, or so. Anyway, growing up there was a trip. I graduated from high school in 1971. I was 17 years old. Went away for a year of college. Came back home for a short period of time, then moved to Oklahoma City. Was there about 9 months, just enough to realize that I wasn't ready to be away from home. But when I was in Oklahoma City, I bought a 69 Z28. Before that, I had a 65 Ford Galaxy. But I bought a 69 Z28, came back to Beaver, Oklahoma, had mid-18 years old, went to work at the school as a not a custodian, but anyway, yard keeper, greenskeeper, bus, barn and all that stuff. So I was working, and I had a 69Z. Well, you know, I was 18 years old. Quite frankly, I was immature until I was about 27. You can ask my first wife and my wife now. I didn't grow up until about then, but when I get the 69 Z28, man, when I was in Oklahoma City, we used to drag race about every weekend. So, you know, I was used to doing that kind of thing, and I moved back to Beaver, Oklahoma, and my uncle was a sheriff, and my cousin was the chief of police, and all the highway patrol knew me. Everybody knew my car. In fact, one of them told me one time, he said, you know what, Leon, we hear you start that car up at your house, and we start writing the ticket by the time you get to Main Street. And that's just about the way it was, because the first year that I had that car back in Beaver, I paid over almost $1,000 worth of tickets. In fact, it got so bad that I had to sit down with the assistant district attorney and explain to him why I thought I should be able to keep my license. Well, what was funny about it, I sit there for about an hour, maybe a little more, listen to him telling me about all the stuff he did when he was younger, how he got hot rodded and got, you know, got in all kinds of trouble driving cars and everything. But then he finally grew up and became an assistant district attorney. Well, all I did was learn how to get away with the stuff that I've been doing and not get caught. He told me how not to get caught. But anyway, I changed my ways pretty much. I mean, you know, by the time I was 21, you know, I was mellowed out somewhat. But I used to love going fast. I used to love cars. I come by naturally. My mom and dad and my Aunt B, oh my Lord, they like to drive fast. So, you know, nowadays I'm kind of a slow poke. People get mad at me because I drive so slow. But like I said, I got about $1,000 worth of tickets when I was in Beaver. And so, yeah, my cousin, the chief of police, he decided he was going to have that, you know, cousinly talk, you know, chief of police kind of talk. And he asked me to go with him to Lerbo, and he had an Oldsmobile. I don't know what it was, but it had a 450 something in it, and convertible. Well, we went to Lerbo, and he was driving 90 miles an hour all the way there. I was looking at him like, what's all this about? He went there and he had a few beers, you know, and we come driving back. He's about 90, 100 miles all the way back. We got Beaver coming down off the road coming out of Forgan, Oklahoma at about 2 miles out around the Sand Hills of the lake. He nails that thing. And I mean, by the time he's hitting Main Street, we're going 130 miles an hour. At 3 o'clock in the morning, he goes 130 miles an hour down Main Street. He gets down the other end and laughs and everything. I said, I don't understand that. How can you get away with that? And I don't do half that much and I get in trouble. And he goes, well, the difference is I know where the cops are at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're in bed asleep. You got to be smart enough to know when to do that stuff. I thought, man, these people aren't helping me at all. But anyway, that's the way it was. A lot of hot cars, man. I mean, we had judges. We had a judge there. We had GTO. We had man. I mean, all kinds of hot cars. It was a nice old 57s, 55s. My best friend had another Camaro, blue, just like mine. I mean, there's a lot of hot cars. So there's a lot of stuff like that going on. But anyway, now getting back to the Barney Fife thing. My uncle was the sheriff, and my uncle never carried a gun. I mean, I saw him one time with a gun when they had a situation where, you know, kind of a manhunt going on. That's the first time I ever seen him with a gun on his hip. So a lot of people compared him to like Andy Griffith on the, you know, Andy Griffith show, Mayberry, you know, the sheriff without a gun. And there was even a rumor going around for a while that they were going to make a movie about him called Sheriff Without a Gun. Well, it was just a rumor. But anyway, because everybody looked at my uncle as kind of like an Andy Griffith kind of character, there was a local man there that took the job as a deputy, not a deputy sheriff, but he's actually a police officer in the town. And that poor guy, I mean, he was a nice guy. I'm not going to say his name because it wouldn't be fair, but he was a nice guy. But somehow he got the name Barney Fife, and people would always say, "Hey, Barney, you got your bullet?" and those kind of things. Well, like I said, he was a nice guy. He always treated me well. I don't think he ever gave me a ticket. But the city had an old white 69, 70 Impala, white, just ugliest old car you ever saw. And that's what he used for driving around town. You know, you could hear it go up the street. And so we always used to sit on Main Street, right on the Tasty Freeze parking lot. We'd sit there until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. So we're sitting there, and it's early morning, somewhere between 1 and 3. And the police officer, everybody who called Barney Fife, was sitting across the street on the Denzel grocery store parking lot. And we're sitting there watching him, and he was nodding off. I mean, he may have been doing paperwork, but I don't think so. He was kind of nodding off, you know, at the dash, and every once in a while he'd look up and he'd nod off. He was watching us, making sure we didn't get into trouble. So anyway, we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, we hear a sound of a car with the headers open. I mean, this thing is so loud, and you could tell it's a long ways away, but it was loud. And if anybody's ever been to Beaver knows that up on the sand hills, it's an uphill coming down to the bridge. It's probably 2.5 miles out there, and we could hear him. He's about out there in the car, and it's loud, and it comes down that hill, and I mean, it's loud, and just about like my cousin did. He hit Main Street, and I'm not exaggerating, 130, 140 miles easily, because he cleared, I don't know how long Main Street is, it's got to be over a mile long. He cleared it in seconds, and he went by us, real loud, and old Barney looked up, and his eyes got big, and he started that chivvy up. He pulled out, Main Street, spun the rear end around, pushed that car to the floor, and he goes, it just poof, threw the carburetor and died right there in the middle of Main Street. We were sitting there, he's trying to start it, poof, poof. And finally, I mean, this guy, you could hear this car. He's halfway to Elmwood, Oklahoma, 15 miles away. That car is, you could still hear it going out of town. I mean, he'd uncorked his headers, and I mean, it was loud. It was a Dodge Sebring or something like that. And we knew who the guy was. I mean, he was even dating my cousin. I mean, we knew who he was. And the car was recognizable. Big red with orange stripes or yellow stripes. But old Barney's out there. And so he finally gets it started, and the car's coming across the street going across the street, comes over to where we are and shuts it off, and it goes, you know how they call them dieseling when it won't shut off. He starts it back up and then turns it off and goes and dies. He gets out and he's all mad. He's got his hands on his hips and on his gun, and he goes, "Who was that?" Well, we all knew who it was, but we weren't going to tell him. So, man, I don't know. He went by way too fast. Poor guy. I feel sorry for him, but man, that was the funniest sight. He pulled out there and he just nailed that car, and he goes and dies right in the middle of the street. Oh, Bonnie's fast, furious pursuit. He got it maybe 30 feet. Oh, golly. It was some funny times. Oh, yeah, we had a great time in Beaver. I miss it, but not that much. All right, that's Saturday's funny story. Friday's Saturday funny story, however you want to say it. I hope you enjoyed it. The kids thought that was funny.